right? So, what I'll share, I have compiled some studies. I've also added some of my personal experiences, and I have also added a lot of a lot of wisdom that I have accumulated over these years with respect to this topic. Okay, so I feel that it will be apt if we do the knowledge session and before, and then we go for the experiential session. Okay, so I hope that will make sense. And if you will have any reflections or anything that you'd like to share, you could use the chat box, or towards the end we could have a quick Q&A. Okay, and I really appreciate that both of you have taken out time to join in, and you're here. So I'm just presenting my slide for you. Just let me know if you're able to see this. Okay, so is this visible? Yeah, you could say, yeah, I think I would prefer hearing. Okay, so this is, yeah, visible, right? Okay, so can you see this quotation? It says, sitting silently, doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself. Okay, this is a Zen haiku, and Zen haiku are, expressions of poetry. But the difference is that they're not written by poets, they are written by enlightened masters, or, um, beings who have experienced meditation under a spiritual master or received enlightenment. So these words come from that experience. Okay, so I feel that this haiku very well summarizes what meditation might mean. Sitting silently doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself. So this means, this directs us to non-effort. Okay, so not doing something very deliberately. Okay, not trying to um, focus on something. I think a lot of us have, when we were in school, we were trained, close your eyes and now focus on this point. You might see a purple color light, a yellow color light, you concentrate on those points, right? We have tried techniques like that. So that is also a style of concentration, I would say. Okay, but the word meditation is not just that. It's not just concentration. So what is it? So meditation is a practice in which we use a technique to train our attention and awareness. And I would, as I read this, I would say that this is, it's so difficult to define an experience like meditation into words. Okay, um, when you actually practice it, you would realize that you cannot sum it up in words. You can't put your words, put your expressions to it. So it helps you achieve mental clarity, emotional calmness, and stability. These are all subsets, but it's a practice that you could do consistently. Um, Another important point here is it can be practiced at any time of the day, although certain techniques, when done at certain times of the day, might yield better results. Okay, so there are some techniques that might be best practiced earliest in the morning during the Brahma Muhurt. There are some techniques that could be practiced after midnight, certain practices that might be more effective during the sunset. Okay, so if you feel interested in exploring this area, we could get on a call sometime and I could elaborate this for you. Okay, meditation could be done individually. I feel individually it's a great practice to try. It can be done in groups, and this is where uh, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, there's this mantra in Buddhism, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. So the Sangha, the collective energy of spiritual seekers oriented towards the same goal, might be at play. And you might have experienced that when you visited an ashram or when you performed a meditation practice in group with more like minded people, you might have received a greater impact of the practice as compared to when you've tried doing this alone. Okay, it could be done with the help of an instructor, with the help of an app, or in due course of practice you could try doing it by yourself. And meditation has background in numerous cultures and religious traditions for thousands of years, and there are wide application and benefits today in the modern context for business, education, health. Right? This is making sense. Yeah. Okay. And here, this is a very quick share. I would not take long here. I just want to tell you that, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism have this word called dhyan, which, is associated with yoga and meditation, and it leads to a state of enlightenment or samadhi. Okay. And in the Western context, the word meditation was not necessarily spiritual. Okay. But in Christianity, it came into being defined as, reflecting on spiritual matters or reflecting on some scriptures. And in contemporary, more secular context, meditation might mean mindfulness or mental exercises that are designed to reduce stress or improve our focus and promote overall well being. So, this is I think this context is what we are trying to pick up today. But yes, we should be very grateful and we should never deny the origin of this practice, and it has its origin around the Eastern. Um, I would say, this the practice of polytheism, the practice where we have worshipped duality with respect to Hinduism and Buddhism. I think these are two um, schools of thought where meditation has been extremely prominent as a technique to realize our true nature. Okay. Here, we are looking at some benefits of meditation, and these are all research backed as well. So, we have physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual benefits. Physical benefits, I think a lot of you might resonate. It helps you lower your heart rate, blood pressure, and as a result, improves the quality of sleep, improves headache, chronic pain, and improves immunity. Okay. And then there are emotional and psychological benefits like feeling more centered, being more calm and peaceful, high level of creativity and imagination, okay, better memory, etc. Spiritual benefits are, feeling greater sense of empathy for oneself and others, feeling more compassionate, gaining a new perspective towards challenges, that earlier seemed very overwhelming, feeling more patient and having a better ability to respond to situations. And I would say I have personally experienced this. And another strength or benefit that I've not put here is feeling a great sense of courage. The more you start practicing meditation, you really feel um, a surge of courage that you had not experienced before, right? And it doesn't mean that with that courage you go on to harm other people or hurt other people, but you become very assertive in an empathetic manner. And this is a freedom that practicing meditation gives to you. And I also read that for a technique to work for you, you might be familiar with a lot of meditation techniques, and there might be one which works for you, and that is a technique which might not work for everyone else, right? So we have to try and find out which technique is working best for us. Okay. And to be able to see the benefit of one technique, you must try it at least for a month. Okay. So if there is some technique that resonated with you, when you hear about it, when you feel or explore it, you feel okay, this seems interesting, I should really try this out, And then you do it today and it might not feel great, but at least try it for 3 days. Then see, try it for another 7 days, 2 weeks, 21 days, and a month, and then see how it has felt for you. Okay, and if a technique is meant for you, you feel greater sense of joy. You feel more resonated with it. You feel more connected with it, and if this technique is feeling joyful or pleasing for you, try practicing it for 6 months at a stretch. Okay, without feeling anxious or without feeling worried about, if you're traveling and you've not been able to do it. So it's the last practice that should make you feel stressed or anxious. Okay, but 6 months is an ideal time for a technique to show its true benefits on us. Okay, and then there are some research findings, and I hope you're familiar with this concept called brain plasticity, which means, our brain is flexible, and some parts of our brain can actually shrink in size or can increase in size. Okay, depending on certain practices. So just for instance, using smartphone or social media might shrink the healthier part of our brain considerably. So similarly, there has been research which has shown that after practicing 8 weeks of a mindfulness based technique, the part of the brain which is responsible for emotional regulation and memory had increased. It's called the hippocampus. And the part of the brain which actually is related to causing anxiety or fear or stress, that's a part called amygdala, it had reduced in size. Okay, and research has linked meditation practice to increase or improve our brain plasticity. I think that's incredible. That's really a very powerful benefit of meditation. Okay, so there are lots and lots of techniques of meditation. By meditation we might mean, just sit silently in padmasan and close your eyes, and that is definitely a practice. And meditation word in Hindi or Sanskrit is referred to as dhyan, and I think the yoga practitioners here know that, this is one of the cornerstones of Patanjali's Ashtang Yoga. So dhyan is one of these cornerstones. So a lot of techniques of meditation might be based around mindfulness. Okay, so they are aimed at making us feel more mindful. They are aimed at increasing our concentration, or to do with some breathing techniques. There are meditation techniques that allow us to do some kind of body scan. Mantra chanting is also a meditation technique. There are walking meditations, vihar, this technique called vihar, walking amidst nature with a lot of mindfulness. There are movement based meditations where you could practice some kind of dance. Okay, Gurdjieff sacred dances. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, and if you've not heard, I strongly recommend that you should check this out. Gurdjieff's sacred dances uh, is an incredible form of meditation. So George Gurdjieff, the Russian mystic, had devised certain hand and leg movements, and they are performed in a very coordinated way in a group. So the entire group, appears to be very, very mindful and very meditative as they sink themselves into that practice. Okay, prayer could also be a form of meditation. Readings and reflections, and loving kindness meditation, I would share a resource with respect to that. Just taking a pause and checking in with all of you. Is it making sense so far? Is it feeling valuable? Yeah. And now I will be elaborating. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So now I'm elaborating a little bit on these types of meditation that I just shared, various techniques of meditation. Now let's look a little deeply at all of those. So these are different types of meditation, but this is not all. Meditation is such a rich universe, I would say. And there are so many practitioners all around the world today and since times immemorial, and they all might have come up with lots of techniques. Okay, so we can't reduce something so vast into just one technique. And some books that I have read definitely suggest that, there is one technique for all of us, and we need to find out which one resonates with us. Okay, and that can only be done by exploring. So the first form could be a form of guided meditation, and uh, there could be some kind of guided instructions where you are encouraged to form mental images of calming nature scenes, and you could use your senses, of sight, smell, hearing, etc. Then there are mantra meditations where you could take up a word and repeat it as much, or you could take up an affirmation and repeat it to prevent any kind of distracting thoughts. I think the form of jap karna is a mantra meditation. And also, om chanting that a lot of us do, which creates a lot of vibration inside us, is also a form of mantra meditation. And we will be doing an experiential practice towards the end for a very brief period of time. But if you would like it, I will share the resource and you could take this practice in your home and try doing this. That's a 1 hour technique, actually. Okay. Then there could be mindfulness forms of techniques that are aimed at enabling you to be more present in this moment. And then movement and breathing related techniques like qigong and tai chi. Okay, you might have heard about these techniques. There are a few more. I had mentioned body scan meditation. So just, closing your eyes and by yourself or by using some kind of instructions, noticing the sensations inside our body. Then there's a loving kindness meditation, and there has been a growing research about the benefits of loving kindness meditation. It's a kind of meditation that enables you to practice forgiveness and more compassion towards all beings, and it increases at various levels. I do have a guided loving kindness meditation in my own voice. I will share that resource with you. Then there are breathing meditations that enable us to focus on different breathing techniques and some kind of contemplations. I think the Zen masters would do that a lot. The master would give you a thought and you would just go in isolation, in solitude, and contemplate on that. And so I don't know the answer to this yet, but there would be an example like the guru would tell the disciple, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And now the disciple would go alone and think about it. And when he has an answer, would come back to the master and share. Okay. These were techniques through which they would suddenly experience enlightenment. Okay. So I hope it's making sense here. And I hope you're also enjoying this. So some elements of meditation that could be helpful, but they are not mandatory, I would say. These could be good support for us when we are beginning our practice. And those could be, focusing our attention to a specific object, an image, a mantra, or our breathe. And I would say, even placing the photo of our guru before us is very, very helpful and very supportive, right? So having a form that could help us center our practice, it's really ideal. And I would recommend that you have a space. You are practicing yoga, so you do have a corner or a sacred space where you're doing your practice. So that's a space where you could also practice meditation. So keep that space consecrated and try to use it for that purpose only. And if you sit there at a regular time every single day, that space will be calling to you, Gradually, with due course of practice, that space will be becoming very charged with your energy, and it will be inviting you to sit there. Okay. So if some of you who have not been practicing meditation all this while, you don't need to feel guilty about not being able to do this. But the fact is, the more you will be sitting in that space, the more that space will be charged with your energy and it will be inviting you. Okay. So when you sit for a meditation practice, you could definitely benefit from relaxing your breathing having a very quiet space with fewer distractions. If you have loved ones, family members, they could know that, my mom is practicing, and I could just, not disturb her for 30 minutes or whatever time. Like my mother does this. She practices a Kundalini meditation during the afternoon, and she would just send us a voice note on WhatsApp, "बच्चों, अब मैं जा रही हूँ," and then she'll put her phone on airplane or something, and we know that she's doing her practice, and after an hour she'll come back and connect with us. Okay, so I feel that it's a very sweet practice that children know that the parent is doing this technique. So it's very nice to have like-minded people who understand your orientation, or wish to practice this. So somewhere we're not getting a lot of television sound or radio or cell phone, and if at all you are getting this in the day, try to find a time in the day when there are minimal distractions. That might be more helpful. Like I remember when I had just completed class 12th, and that was a time when my brother and I had started getting into spirituality. We would wake up at midnight, and we would take a quick shower, and we had a certain robe that we would wear for our meditation practice, and we would sit in some kind of humming meditations around midnight, or late midnight. And we tried doing this for a consistent period of time. So having somebody along with you to practice, I think that's really great. um, a comfortable position. And here I would say, see, there are lots of techniques that might require you to follow certain protocols or rules, but the practice that you will sustain the most is the one where the posture is not painful for you. Okay, so small basic things like sitting or kneeling down, or lying down, or walking, anything that resonates with you or that feels comfortable with you, you're more likely to continue doing that. And keeping your mind open without judgment. And you know what, in 24 hours of the day our mind keeps wandering at all different spaces. But when you sit for a meditation practice, that's when you will realize, oh my god, my mind is going in so many different directions. And that's where I would suggest not to hold judgment towards the mind for thinking such thoughts, because this is the nature of the mind. We call our mind as monkey mind, and it is very normal. So keeping the judgment aside, just knowing that this is how the mind works, but continuing with your practice. Music is very supportive, and a calm music of 60 bpm or lesser than that. Repetitive music without rhythm can be very helpful. Music with bells, etc., are very helpful. I will share some resources about meditation music. Start small, but be consistent, and you will definitely arrive at your sweet spot. Okay, and some thoughts as we wrap this up quickly are, meditation is not a religious act. Just like yoga, a lot of people make it very religious, although it has emanated from a brilliant and gorgeous school of thought. And there is no good or bad meditation. So you won't have a bad meditation any day. Whatever you're practicing, you're growing a step each day. And do not aspire to attain a paranormal experience, because the more you strive for it, the more it drifts away from you, and it's not necessary. Even if you've read some books like Autobiography of a Yogi, or you've read some spiritual masters who might have experienced paranormal experiences, it's not mandatory or necessary for you to encounter that. So do not try to train your mind to start looking at those experiences. Okay, if you are facing any kind of health challenges, or going through pregnancy or lactation, or condition that is vulnerable, please do your research well and consult your doctor also before starting, because a lot of music that might have been made for meditation practices use 60 bpm or low, and they could induce frequencies in our brain that might not be supportive or helpful during those health conditions. right? So look at your own health condition before you begin a meditation practice. And it's not a replacement for traditional medical treatment. So if there is a health condition that somebody is going through, do not remove all the medicines and just do the meditation practice. It could be used in sync along with the actual treatment. Okay. And again, I already mentioned some of these. I think this is the last slide here. So keep your space very, very clean, and try to sleep early and well, so that when you are at your meditation practice, you feel nourished and not deprived. Your So here, what I'm trying to share is, just like, Sri Aurobindo said that all life is yoga, or yoga is what happens outside the mat, actually not on the mat. On the mat we're just practicing, but it's outside the mat that we are actually putting that practice in real life. So our daily lifestyle should start becoming non-sedentary. Our food habits should be healthy and light and home cooked meals instead of a lot of Zomato orders. Try to wear light colors, clean, comfortable clothing, natural fabrics if possible. The lights could be slightly dimmer, they support better practice. If you are able to afford it, keep the phone on airplane mode or away. Okay. And keep some buffer time before and after your practice, so that you're able to soak in that energy, or you're able to center yourself into that experience. And don't try to club your meditation with a high intensity practice. Like, do not multitask if you are driving a car and thinking that you could meditate. That's very dangerous. Okay. And if you're doing it in a group, keep ample spaces in between. And as I wrap, I just want to share that anything that we do in our day to day life, whether that's playing with kids, being with our beloved, cooking, the daily chores that we are doing, the sounds that we are listening to nature, um, all of life is an opportunity for us to experience meditation, right? We just need to be open to these experiences, and I hope that you find some takeaways. These are some resources that I will be sharing with you all. And now you could switch on your videos if you feel like. So we can quickly try doing a practice, and I will share the stages, the steps, and we won't be able to do this whole practice for the entire time. Okay, so we will do it just probably for 5-10 minutes, just for you to get a taste of it. Okay. But before that, if and I have some resources for you. There is a beautiful talk by Dr. Bijlani on mindfulness and meditation. So please, I recommend you go and look for that. I will share my loving kindness meditation with you, and I have a huge resource of playlists which my husband has created on guided meditations. Uh, these have guided instructions, body scan, grounding techniques, sleep meditations, and it is richly replete with amazing, very healing sounds, chimes, bells, those kind of music. So I'll share that link with you all also, and you could explore if that works for you. Okay. So thank you for listening to me all this while. And we will be doing an experiential technique. I thought that we will try doing an Osho Nath Brahm meditation. Okay. And I will share its stages with you, and I will also, and if you really enjoyed it, I will share this music piece with you. This technique originally is for an hour, where for the first 30 minutes there are bell sounds only. Okay. And what you do is, you just close your eyes and sit, in a comfortable position, and you could just keep your hands on top, one on top of the other on your lap, And just by keeping your eyes closed and by listening to the music very consciously, just keep on humming along. Okay, so a lot of people try humming an om sound, but that's not mandatory. If you resonate with an om sound, you could do that, but you could just do it like okay, and that humming has to be like a buzzing bee. Okay, so you could try to make it as intense as possible, and if you're doing it in a group, just imagine the kind of vibration that's created when an entire group does that. Okay, so this is originally done for 30 minutes, and I tell you, I this is one of my most favorite meditation techniques, and I'll tell you, by the 30 minutes, when you reach, your body starts feeling um, overwhelmed with strong vibrations. Your body, every cell starts reverberating with energy. Okay, but 30 minutes we won't be able to do right now, and after that the bell sounds, that music comes to an end, and you listen to a different kind of music, and that stage is for 15 minutes, divided into 7.5 plus 7.5. Okay, so at the first stage, what you do is we keep our hands open like this, our palms open, and we extend our hands from our navel, and we spread it like this in circle, and then we bring it back to the navel. Okay, so we start from here, and at the feeling, and it we do not have to do it fast, or let your hands move by themselves, and the feeling is that you are taking in energy from the existence into your body, inside yourself. Okay, and then after 7.5 minutes, that music changes, and the third stage comes, and then you just turn your hand downwards, and then you give your own energy to the mother earth. Okay, so again your hands move from your sides to the navel, and you are giving your energy back to the mother earth, and after that another 15 minutes it is full of silence, and you just you could close your eyes, and you could just lie down on the floor. Okay, so this is when you're doing it by yourself, and you have 1 hour of practice. Okay, but right now I think we have 15 minutes, out of which we would like to interact a bit also for 5 minutes. So probably I think 7, 8, or 10 minutes we could try doing this technique. So I will play this music, this bell sound, I'll play this for 5 minutes, and the second stage sound I'll play for 2.5 and 2.5 minutes, and you could try doing this practice. I hope this made sense. Do you have any doubt here?
Richa, can you just repeat again?
Repeat you.
First is like 15 minutes is just sitting hand over hand, right?
Okay, so sitting hand over hand, you could keep your hand in whatever position that feels comfortable
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you,
yeah.
but keeping eyes closed, and you hum
Okay,
continuously. Okay,
okay.
that's so. Right now we'll do this. See, it's a 1 hour technique, but we'll do this quickly in 10 minutes just to get an experience of it. So I'll play this humming music for just 5 minutes, right? Okay, and after that there is a stage for 15 minutes, which is broken into 7.5 plus 7.5 minutes, and where in the first part you keep your palms open, and because you have created all this vibration inside, and your eyes will be closed, you will notice that your hands are naturally floating right from the center towards the side. Okay, and you get a feeling that you are taking in all the energy from the sky into yourself. Okay, and on the next stage you turn your hands downwards, and then you give energy back to mother earth, and just let your hands float. Okay, so because we are starting, so let's not keep it very rigid, let's just try to experience this. And I know that once we practice a meditation, we do not feel like talking a lot, Okay, but if there are any reflections or any questions, we could take the last 5 minutes to discuss that. Okay, so are we all ready? Yeah. Okay, so just let me know if you're able to listen to this music. Okay, I'll play this in a while. Yeah.
Don't blame your brain lazy if you're struggling hard with procrastination.
Now you could slowly stop the humming, keep your eyes closed, open your palms and start moving them, experiencing energy from the existence. Now you could turn your palm downwards and keep moving your hands in the same direction to receive energy from the existence. I don't want this to be an abrupt ending, so just take another few moments to let that energy soak in that you have created these last few minutes. Take some time and gather yourself and slowly rub your hands, rub your palms, place them over your eyes. Place your palm over your head and bless yourself. And you can slowly, slowly open your eyes. Slowly come back into this session. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I know there were some technical glitches because a meditation practice done virtually online might have some technical goof ups. Um, but just before we wrap, I think we have just last 2 minutes. So just I would like to hear uh, some thoughts if you would like to share. Even if you don't want to speak, you could just write on the chat box any thoughts or experience that you had. And you could also say that this felt very scary. I didn't like it or this felt intimidating because स्वयं का साक्षात्कार करना बहुत ही scary अनुभव होता है because our mind never wants us to go to that zone. It always wants us to remain distracted. So we could feel scary as well. That's normal. Just embrace that and keep moving deeper into your meditation practice. Okay. So I hope you had at least some takeaway. And if you have anything to share, you could quickly do that. And I know we have another session to hop on to probably. So yeah, if you want to talk or share, just let me know. Yeah.